Hi everyone, welcome back to Mike on Mike. I hope you enjoyed your weekend. It's time to check out the films that came out on Friday and see if they popped or flopped. Here are the final results from Friday. It looks like Minions and Monsters is in first place. Now, that's pretty wild because I was in... Oh, let me see. What did I say it was going to be? I said it was I said number 2. Okay, well, I'll take number 1 then. And then I did say 85 to 90. Let's see. So it did it not do well here? So domestic 61 and international. So it made it overseas, but here it didn't entirely like work out. Maybe people just don't have an interest in this. I thought that this is more of like, I don't know about popular, but pretty liked, I guess. Yeah, this is interesting. So I guess it popped overall. So 160. That's not bad. Yeah, that's good though. So yeah, I guess technically, yeah, Minions and Monsters popped with 160. So that's cool. I really thought that more people would like it, or but perhaps, I mean, that's good that this didn't cost 150 for whatever reason, because if it was a little bit higher, look, it would have definitely not. It would have flopped like crazy. I mean, that's a good thing. $85 million budget, and yeah, I guess it cleared that. So that is a success. And then the other one is this Young Washington that we can check out. It looks like it didn't. Wow, the budget was really low though, I think. It said... well, it said the budget might be 20 to 35 million. So that's possible that it's low, but 20 to 30, so it just made it, I guess I'm going to consider this a flop because I think the budget might be a little higher. So, and it only made 19 domestic. So that makes sense. Overseas, nobody wants to know that, which is funny because, it's like a historical kind of a teaching lesson coupled with, it's a film, and I mean, this is educational. So if you're overseas, this would be, like world history to you. And you can be like, oh, hey, I've always wanted to know about the U.S. President, George Washington. And there's a movie out and I like movies. So, yeah, but I'm surprised that it didn't make any international. I guess it's more of just like, yeah, why would anybody want to learn about this? I don't know. I mean, if there was a documentary of somebody, Putin or Zelensky, here, I mean, like, you'd probably see it maybe or something. Like, just to learn about that, because, like, that Mr. Nobody Against Putin film, there was some legal thing, or I don't know what happened with that, but it's kind of like that, Anyway, yeah, so this one... I guess, yeah, Young Washington technically flopped, while the other Minions and Monsters, I guess, popped, which is pretty good. I wonder if it's going to hit... I feel like Minions and Monsters, would eventually probably hit... I don't know about 500 million. I think I said that, $500 million. But it could end with, 200 or 300 maybe. Because right now, yeah, what is it, 160 or whatever. But I mean, that means that it's going to have to double that. So if it can make the same amount next week, it should be okay. Other than that, I feel like it's going to drop a bit. And then maybe next week, I feel like Toy Story 5 will go back up. But I think, isn't the Odyssey coming out next or something? I think the Odyssey is on its way, and then the Spider-Man film. Spider-Man is going to be number 1 for a bit. The Odyssey, it's going to fight with it for sure, but I think it's going to be in... Both of those will be in first and second place, I think, and then push Minions and Monsters down. Young Washington will drop all the way down, and then probably past 10 by next week. Toy Story 5, I think Toy Story 5 will definitely go back up to first place until Spider-Man or The Odyssey knock it down again. Supergirl will continue to go down. Disclosure Day, I'm pretty like surprised it's still there. I mean, that's the thing. Disclosure Day isn't crap or trash. It's just kind of a little bit, underwhelming, sort of, and done a little weirdly. But other than that, it's not bad. That's why it's obviously still there. And then Obsession and Backrooms are now next to each other. Both of them are now like neighbors because of all the damage they've done to the box office now, Pretty hilarious. Okay, so anyways, now we can look at these movies individually, starting with Minions and Monsters. Okay, the first film, 6.6 stars. Looks like people are having fun with it. Even though I guess it has a low opening, but it luckily, I guess, technically made it with 159 or 160 worldwide. Then we'll go down here and check out the reviews. I will read the summary first. It says, reviewers say Minions and Monsters delivers charming, family-friendly entertainment with exceptional physical comedy reminiscent of classic slapstick and strong voice performances throughout. The vibrant animation and humor work well for children while offering clever references for adults. However, the writing feels mundane and incoherent to many, lacking originality and creative depth. Engagement proves divisive, with some finding it entertaining while others consider it boring or exhausting. The film succeeds as quality family fare despite its narrative shortcomings. Okay. Lacking originality and creative depth. They probably just didn't want to make it too complex, I guess. They kind of want to, I guess, have it kind of feel focused and maybe a little bit more simple, because I guess maybe, they obviously prioritize the kids' entertainment over the adult stuff, even though there's adult stuff in it, apparently, whatever that means. Let's see, so 111 reviews. The first one is 5 out of 10. The strangest animated film. Fans of the film dynamics in Despicable Me might find themselves bored as the plot focuses entirely on the Yellow Fellow's solo adventures. But that's so obvious. It's Minions and Monsters, not Gru and Monsters or Despicable Me and Monsters. It's obviously going to focus on them. And Minions 1 goes through their history, right? Like finding a boss to serve or whatever, right? Whatever. Like, there's that one already discovered it. So if you want that one, they already did that one. Like, this is obviously kind of like a new sort of thing, but delving into the history of the Minions. The humor is too niche. The attempt to lean into cinephile jokes and homages to this 20th century cinema stripped the film of some of the carefree magic that made the franchise a favorite among the youngest viewers. It will be difficult. It will be quite difficult for children to watch this animated film. Wow. So perhaps it's just like I don't know. Maybe it is already. It's still too complicated for kids. Like, maybe what they could have done was actually make this like I don't know if they could do that, like a half and half movie with like for adults and kids, but not dirty for the adults. More like mature plot lines, and then there's also stuff for the kids. So it's more like a team movie, maybe, or something. Because like maybe the attempt to lean into cinephile jokes, like those, like now that you think about it, those are things that adults would understand, and like maybe they even did this like so when the kids grow up over the next 10 years, they watch this movie and they kind of analyze it differently. And then like a lot of us, in 20 to 30 years, they're going to be like, wow, like I watched Minions and Monsters when I was little. I didn't get it. And as I grew up, I really understand now, or understand, what they're trying to do at the time. And maybe they're into filmmaking now. And now I get it. And I love Minions and Monsters because like, and then maybe they explain it like, it looks like they were trying to make it for the kids, even though it was more like for like teens because of what it is. I think like what this is saying is that there's a lot of references like what to the Marx Brothers and Abbott and Costello. The kids aren't going to get that regardless. Like, it doesn't matter. And I feel like if this movie is diving into something that, you know, not necessarily older people or anything, but, you know, that too, but people who are in the movies and have discovered old stuff, you know, that would be a higher age, right? Like a 7-year-old isn't probably Googling Marx Brothers and goes, oh, Harpo, Groucho, you know, they're probably not doing that, you know, like who's Stan, Oliver and Hardy, who are these people, you know, and wow, you know, like, I think that's what they expected to happen, you know, it seems like it's like a complex kind of a film in that regard, you know, or I don't know, because I feel like it's not really a tough plot. It's the stuff that branches from the plot, you know? Like, this isn't like, it's not for kids. It's like the wrong category, you know? Like, if it's all of a sudden it's about like, I don't know what example. Like, if it's all of a sudden about like, I don't know, making a rocket, or it gets into science all of a sudden, not everybody's into science. Maybe like a select amount of kids are, but maybe a lot of, you know, adults understand basic science, you know, whatever, all that stuff, and they understand it, you know? So, I don't know. Possibly that is what this guy is trying to describe or say. It focuses entirely on... See, this one is obvious. It's obviously a Minions movie, you know? Like, if you're sitting there, where's Gru? Where's Gru? Okay, first of all, this is a prequel. Okay, besides it being about the Minions, you know, so it's very strange. And then second, yeah, it would be like, was Gru in the marketing? Did Steve Carell go out and market this? Did anybody involved market it? You know, like, or whatever, you know, do all that stuff. I don't even think I saw this movie really animated or advertised. See, what I was saying is the fact that you don't need to advertise this. You don't need to show much of the movie because it's like you already have a fan base. You don't really need to show too much. You know, maybe in this case, yeah, but generally, like, you know, like, I don't know how Despicable Me 2 turned out, but the first one, like, you don't need to sell people for the second one, really. You kind of be like, oh, the first one, I saw the first one. Okay, cool. You know, and then you kind of can judge it later. You need to see a sequel regardless, usually. But anyway, I think that this is what this guy is saying, which is interesting, which then they should have just made it a little bit more mature and then totally, I don't know, lose the kids. I mean, I was listening to discussion about it, and it sounds like that's the thing. It's like a lot of the people maybe have grown up or something, which I don't care really. Like, if they ever made Bugs Life 2, I'd watch it, you know? Toy Story is a little bit different. I have a little bit of an issue with that because of what they did with the third one. I don't know. I'm kind of more like offended because like I grew up with the first one and then watched the second one with Zurg, and I don't know. I am disappointed at the third one, and I didn't watch the fourth, and I'm not interested in the fifth one. Besides me coincidentally missing it 3 weeks ago when it premiered, that was just coincidence. But yeah, I don't know. I think that this is what they're trying to describe. We'll see if it comes up again. This one's 6 out of 10. Simple, silly, and endlessly charming. Then 5 out of 10, a beautiful mess. 7 out of 10, the most cinephile side of the Minions. And then 5 out of 10, sadly disappointing and boring. I've been a fan of all Minions Despicable Me movies since they came out, and this one did not hold my attention, nor my children's attention. It seemed as if the franchise was just trying to throw something at us and hope it stuck. The plot was almost non-existent. The characters were not even interesting, and the backstory to why they came to be where they are was just blasé at best. I'd suggest, unless you have toddlers who just like cartoons, to save your money and watch it when it comes to streaming services. I think that this whole saving your money thing is always important, but right now, at this current time, I think people really want to save their money. And if some father or mother's schooling this, you know, and they say, like, hey, honey, yeah, we're not going to see that movie. I don't think it's worth it. Let's take them to something better, you know, or whatever. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Think that this is interesting. Yeah, see, I've been a fan of all of those, and this does not hold my attention. So then it's just not done well. I wonder if the hour and a half is on purpose, or did they cut it to an hour and a half? Did they cut out important scenes? How does that work? Because I'm pretty sure, well, no, I guess it is the same. They could delete an entire scene. I mean, The Incredibles has the whole, all those alternate scenes, right? With Syndrome taking Jack and all that. So, I mean, I don't know what else they could have filmed. Are there, on the DVD and stuff, are there deleted scenes from the Despicable Me series and the Minions films? I don't know. I would assume probably, but not enough to make the news or to be brought up in like public talk, you know, like, did you see Despicable Me had an alternate ending or something, or where Gru dies or something because they didn't plan a sequel? I don't know. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. So sadly disappointing and boring. Yeah, I think that people, if they can save money, they will, but prioritizing their children's happiness can sometimes it can definitely take over saving money, you know, like, hey, my kid's happiness is way more important than saving some money. So I think, you know, so 6 out of 10, Monsters of Hollywood. 1 out of 10, Stay Away. 7 out of 10, a great first act with an okay monster flick. Second act, and well, what about the third act? I think they showed it in the. I mean, it's not a complex film. The trailer shows it. I think it's very straightforward, and I guess they're saying there's kind of no story or something. I don't know. I would have just done something with like a simple story. They open up a spell book the first time. They summon somebody who steals something, and now they got to go get it back. And then they keep trying to do it, and then they get this big monster who maybe at the end they find out the monster is like, wait, I thought you were fighting with me. You need that? I can get you that. If I get you that, stop fighting with me. And the minions go, okay. And they get them that, whatever. And then the movie's over. At least there's sort of a plot or something, or a ticking time bomb, you know, got to do it in 5 minutes or something, or else something's going to happen. Yeah, what else? But there is this theme of family, right? And friendship and loyalty and all that. Has anybody even mentioned that? I haven't seen anything yet. And then somebody wrote, okay, 5 out of 10, character development is at a minimal. See, that's funny. Character development. It's just like, it's hard to do character development with a character again, you know? It's like a character has an issue, he learns to get over that issue, and now he's a better person. And, you know, or whatever. Or this character has an issue, and he needs to get rid of that issue before the ticking time bomb, whatever. And he does it, and he learns about himself, and he becomes better. That's it. So they could have done that with, you know, they find another minion who's troubled and he has a problem or something, and he resists the Stuart and Dave's help, whatever their names are. They want to help this minion and he's troubled, and it's really sad. And maybe they tried to bring him along with their adventure and show him how to be better through film, maybe. And they go back in the past, and they do all that with this character who's learning. And at the end, he has his character arc, and he becomes better, right? Or he even creates that monster at the end. He does something to the spell when they're casting it, and it summons this big monster, but he's evil because of that one minion. And they find out later, and there's a twist. Maybe we don't know. And then at the end, he has his arc, and he saves the day. and friendship and loyalty and all of that stuff are there, right? That would be fine. So next one is 9 out of 10. This movie is great. 6 out of 10, great at first, but diminished at the end. 5 out of 10, please retire. Wow. Either retire the series or make it digital, because it's not worth £725 in an empty theater. I know I should blame no one but myself for indulging in buying that ticket, as I do love Minions, but I don't know who the target audience is for this franchise anymore, because kids won't find this any exciting, as I barely heard any sound from the 2 kids in my theater. Yeah, that makes me think that it's a kid's movie, Minions, but with an adult storyline of movies, of not even adult story, this is like a complex story that a kid doesn't want. They want to see silly stuff. And maybe this doesn't have enough silly stuff. It's more, I don't know. Maybe it's on purpose. Maybe it's they're going to do Minions 3 or whatever, and that's going to be like PG-13, and it's actually going to be no kids. Not dirty or cussing, but just more complex story stuff. The other thing is that then they marketed this wrong. They really should have like said, I don't know, like if you're a kid who grew up with this, well, guess what? The Minions are back with a more mature storyline. Have you ever thought Minions would be mature? Well, here they are, Minions and Monsters out this summer, right? And now you're like, wow, really? So they're growing up, sort of, and they're learning new stuff. Okay. And then now a young kid goes in, like a teen, like a middle school kid, and he goes in and he's like, wow, cool. I'm going to join the video production class in 9th grade, you know, when I go to high school or something. I don't know, whatever, you know, or not even that. He learns a lesson, you know, I'm going to be better to my friends. I'm going to be more loyal or family or, right? The things that are in this movie, supposedly. So anyways, we'll wrap up here. 3 out of 10 average watch, 7 out of 10 absolute banana, 5 out of 10 less entertaining and more chaotic, 1 out of 10 worst Minion movie ever. We'll end it with this one. Easily the worst Minion movie ever made. Not even sure if the PG rating is even valid for some scenes. I literally just said that, and I'm thinking about that. Like, sometimes the adult jokes are actually adult jokes. Like, it's like, come on. Like, dude, that has nothing to do with this movie. This is a kid's movie. If this was made, that was in person, you would get it. You would get a, what is that called? Like being naked in public charge, indecent exposure. If you did this in public, you would get it in trouble, right? But you can do it in a movie. You can do a sexually suggestive gesture in a movie, but a kid does it, and it's like, you're perverted. Like, you're doing that on purpose, and yeah, I hate that. Like, either be adult and make it rated R, or you're for the kids. Are you a creep? Are you like, you want to expose the little kids to that? Like, what is wrong? You know what I mean? Like, why would someone do that? Like, that is, I hate that. I really hate that. Just, like, stop. Like, leave that out of the movie. Stop being creepy with that stuff, right? I get it, but you're watching a kid's movie, right? It's for the kids. Go watch a rated R movie with that in it. It's very simple. Don't combine the two. Adult with kid stuff, maybe whatever. But adult stuff in kids' movies? No. You know, like The Simpsons is obviously straight up. You know, it's for adults. It's not for the kids, kind of tricking them, you know? Like, yeah, I don't know. Whatever. So, yeah, I don't know. That sucks, though. But, yeah, the rest of this is my child was distressed. And we left the theater midway through. It is very disappointing an experience to watch this, considering the previous well-made Minion movies. Save your money and skip this one. Oh, my child was distressed? In what way? Is it dirty, like sexually suggestive, or is it just more like the black and white scenes? Is it filmed in a horror movie feel? That's different, though. But yeah, anyways, we'll finish that one there. We'll now go to Rotten Tomatoes reviews. Let's see. So 91% from the critics, certified fresh. What in the world? And then 75% from the audience. I don't understand that. Like, so is it good or not? This is the most, but like Rotten Tomatoes is so confusing. They have 4 ratings. Like, it's not just good or bad. It's good, certified fresh. It's good, not bad. It's bad, really not original. Bad, this is rotten. Like, Jesus. And then there's a percentage on top of all of that. I guess it's 100% of the critics, 100% of the audience, right? And 91% of these critics like it, meaning 9% don't like it or whatever. I guess, but then it's so fresh. Like, this is such a good movie. It's fresh. It's brand new. It's reinvented movies. Is that what it's saying? I don't understand that. And then what I just read is it's like weird, but the audience does like it. I don't know. So yeah, anyway, we'll check these out. The critics' consensus is The Minions brings their penchant for mayhem to Hollywood history in this affectionate and charming send-up of movie-making magic, turning out the franchise's most roundly enjoyable entry yet. Roundly enjoyable, okay? Like, oh, and then audience, balancing cuteness and chaos to hilarious slapstick effect, Minions and Monsters proves that the more minions, the merrier. Okay, I mean, yeah, sure. I feel like, what about all the, it just sounds like they're saying that it's like not good. This could be the bot thing I keep bringing up, you know, and IMDb is just full of bots. How hard is it to introduce a verification plan or whatever that works? Obviously, Rotten Tomatoes has it. This guy is a real person. You know? Abby, a girl. She's a real person. So it's strange that they don't do that. Like Bezos, I don't know who owns Rotten Tomatoes, but Bezos owns IMDb or whatever. So obviously he doesn't care or is even aware that there's a bot issue, even though I think Elon Musk has brought it up and other people have brought it up. Perhaps Bezos just doesn't care and wants that to happen so that his movies do better or whatever. Anyway, so here are the critics' reviews for this film. Brian Viner from Daily Mail in the UK gave it 4 out of 5 tomatoes, saying much of this will fly over the heads of pint-sized audiences, but there's more than enough to keep them happy while their grandparents and grandparents are chuckling away. Okay, much as over their heads of pint-sized audiences. What? That's not considered sick. Like, oh, we got a genitals joke. Oh, they're not gonna guess this one. What is wrong with you? You're okay with public indecency, right? Like, you're so okay with that. Like, deal with it. Like, Jesus, that's kind of a shame, don't you think? I don't know. The next one is Abby Bernstein from Assignment X gave it a B tomato, saying by now most people will have figured out if they like Minions humor or not. For those who do, Minions and Monsters has gloriously ridiculous sight, gags, puns, punchlines, and more flying by at a mile a minute. Yeah, that seems like, I mean, they're all like that. Like the Super Mario Galaxy movie is pretty hectic, I guess. And then down here, Nick Johnston from Vanyaland gave it a tomato, saying what elevates Minions and Monsters above many of its peers is its celebration of the art of filmmaking as a collaborative effort in the joy of creative endeavors. Hope that's true. That sounds great. And I keep thinking that it's gonna spark the filmmaking idea in one of these kids' heads. Yeah, they should do a survey after. Are you likely to get into filmmaking after this? And then Alchi Rengifo from Entertainment Voice gave it a tomato, saying plus it's just another dose of anarchic joy, tapping into the inner troublemaker who likes to make funny noises and laugh in the face of fear or proper manners. And then Sean Edwards from Fox 4 Kansas City. Wow. Give it 4 out of 5 tomatoes, saying one of the most delightfully charming movies I've ever seen and easily the best of the franchise. And then Rick Bentley from KGET TV in Bakersfield, California, gave it a C- splat. The film is loaded with recognizable names as the voice talents, but none gives the film any special audio zip. So they chose more named people rather than actual voice actors with a name, like with their voice being the main thing, I guess. That's weird, but out of all of that, this guy gives it a splat. That's the 9% that I was saying, or whatever. It said 8% that the critics who don't like it. So I don't understand that. That is really confusing. This guy actually is being honest, maybe, or something, or this is not for him. I don't know. Andrea Thompson from A Reel of One's Own gave it an A- tomato, saying clocking in at a refreshingly compact 90 minutes. Minions and Monsters is zany, laugh out loud, family romp. And then Mark Kermode from Kermode and Mayo's Take on YouTube gave it a tomato, saying I laughed like an idiot all the way through. And then Devesh Sharma from Filmfare gave it 3 out of 5 tomatoes, saying more than another Minions film. This is a joyous celebration of filmmaking itself. Okay, so yeah, that's good on the critics' reviews. Now we'll go over to the audience reviews and see what they are saying. Estefani H gave it 1 out of 5 stars, saying all other Minions movies were great. This one didn't seem to make a purpose, showed in a way witchcraft and honoring it like a good way. I get it's a kid's movie, but what are you really showing that's saying words to bring something from the something kind of a confusingly worded review. Julie gave it 1.5 stars, saying it was terrible for little ones. Ours was so bored that we never made it to the monster part. They are huge Minion fans, but this wasn't it. The violence is a lot for preschoolers. The Queen's beheading was just bizarre. Wow. What? Okay, so here's the thing. Why is there not a critic who's 8 years old? That would have been a legitimate review. The critics are like, wow, I like this. Yeah, I like this. Yeah, because it's for you. It's not for you. It's for the kids. Did it do good for the kids? I don't understand that. If it's for the adults, they should have said that or something, or let us know, hey, are you an adult? Do you like the Minions? Well, guess what? Now that's for you. Yeah, that's so, this is funny. This is what I was seeing on IMDb. So it may not be a bot issue. I already said that what they really need to do with this whole thing is they need to have, everybody needs to have their ratings, actually, is how it should be worded. Everybody has their rating. Everybody's a critic. Everybody. If you go out to dinner, you criticize the waiter, you criticize the table, you criticize the cleanliness, the bathroom. Everybody's a critic. And then everybody is also an audience. Like everybody's you know what I mean? So I feel like they need to have these 2 ratings, Like I kind of do that, where you have your critics rating and you go, this was whatever, that, like this and that sucked, that was cool, that was whatever. But also, were you entertained? Like, yes, I laughed, I liked it, like all this, like Project Hail Mary. I liked it, right? But I'm also criticizing it in kind of a strange way. I wanted all the sci-fi stuff. I wanted all of that stuff because I just kept thinking, wait, how did he do that? I would get distracted. But I loved Rocky. I loved all that cute stuff, this and that, all that stuff. It was great. It's very funny and silly and all that stuff. That was great, and I liked that. But from the audience, I like that. But from the critics' point of view, this was wrong and that was wrong and that was actually cool, but they should have done it this way, whatever, right? So yeah, like I'm entertained by film. There's always good stuff. You know, even like the Superman movie that just came out, it's very weird, and now I've changed my opinion on it, but I have and will always love the anti-proton river, whatever, but in the black hole where Superman gets stuck in. That whole scene is so cool. I love it. It's so sci-fi-y. It's so weird with the pocket dimension and all that stuff. I love it. I love that scene. You know, but the movie wasn't amazing, and I can say that, you know. But I loved that movie. I really loved it. I like certain things of it. But I do see the issues. I can admit the issues. I see the issues. I agree that they're wrong choices, but I did have fun with that movie. I do like James Gunn's filmmaking, all this stuff, like, you know, all that stuff. So yeah, but anyways, back to this from this little rant. I think that that's the thing. It's just the critics are literally saying this is a good film. It must be good. That's the thing. It must be good. It's just not good for the kids, which is why what happened during the test screenings? Nobody said, "Hey, this isn't kid material. This is like when the kids grow up, they'll like this." Is what it is. You know, they should have Batgirled this movie. They should have shelved it and then released it in 20 years when the kids grew up. Like, hey, so a long time ago, we were going to do a Minions and Monsters film, but you guys were too young to understand it. Now you're all grown up. Now we're going to release it, right? And that would be kind of funny, actually. But yeah, we'll continue here. Bernardo D gave it 4 out of 5 stars, saying this might be the least Minions movie in the franchise. I loved it, but it's not for kids. The pacing is slow. It's not really funny, and the movie references are a delight, but just for those who get them. That's what I'm saying. I think that the movie is good. It's not for kids, and I'm sure if you're doing a black and white movie making thing in it, you have to do references. You have to do a Buster Keaton reference. You have to do a Charlie Chaplin reference. You have to do that, and guess what? The kids aren't gonna get that. You know. Now if like some people, I don't know how many people are like me, but my parents showed me everything. Or you know what I mean? They showed me Laurel and Hardy, and then they showed me Rocky Horror Picture Show, and then they showed me Seventh Voyage of Sinbad, and then they showed me Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And you know what I'm saying? I got a real mix of stuff that if, I don't know if they are, but if these kids have the same experience where their parents show them, hey, we're going to watch a Laurel and Hardy movie tonight, or we're going to watch Horse Feathers, or we're going to watch Duck Soup, you know, or like, hey, guess what? There's this movie where this guy named Harpo plays the harp in every movie. There's always a scene where he plays the harp, right? You know, and then, oh, guess what? He makes a cameo in I Love Lucy when she goes to Hollywood. And then they have that mirror scene, the classic mirror scene. Right now, how many people get this reference? How many people get that? You know, unless you have a variety of movies you've grown up with. How many kids are being shown Laurel and Hardy films? How many people are being shown a Buster Keaton film right now? You know, it's just like, if I have kids, I like movies, I'm going to show them a variety of film, you know? They're going to be able to be like, wow, black and white, that's so cool. Did you know that? And then they're going to know facts about it or something, you know, and things like that. But yeah, I don't know. I think that's a thing too. If families are into movies, but they're not that into movies, they should be, you know, their parents should. It's on them. It's on the parents to, you know, like everybody enjoys movies. You know, it's culture. It's part of what we do. But I think a lot of people need to take it upon themselves to educate yourself, or the parents need to show the kids more stuff, show them more things. And then, you know, start with the new Spider Noir. Start with that. You know, it's stuff like that, you know, or whatever. Even one of these kids who would assume what's the plan could get into filmmaking, and he starts he does a new type of filmmaking, but it's film noir, but with kids. A young kid film noir type of a film. That'd be cool. So, yeah, anyways, I think we're good on here. I'll read one more. Donnie M gave it 2 out of 5 stars, saying it had a pretty big curse word in it. What? See one person evaporate and there is a decapitation shown, showing meat and bone and head laying on ground. It doesn't cut away. I usually love Minions and Despicable Me, but this is my least favorite of the series, I'm assuming. Wow, had a pretty big curse word in it. I don't know about the F word. Probably bastard, maybe? Or, right? That would be, bastard isn't really even like a swear word. Or, it just seems like a swear word. I think people have included it as a swear word. It means, what does it mean? Like someone without a father or whatever, right? Something like that. It's not really, it just sounds bad. But that could be considered a bad word because it's not bad, right? It's just, it's a bad sounding word. It's more like, I don't know, rude? No, I don't know. Something like that. This is unfortunate. Seeing one person evaporate and there is a decapitation showing meat and bone, but it's probably a bone, like a dog bone, like one of those classic bones, one of those bones. And then a meat, it's probably like one of those, a ham bone, or like from Minecraft, like a pork chop, with the bone, like the cartoon looking one. I doubt there's actual violence in the movie. Yeah, anyway, that is very strange. And that is all for the Rotten Tomatoes. All right, so Minions and Monsters. I guess it technically popped with 160 overall. Didn't do amazing here in the States, but international. That's funny. It popped with 160 total. I think that it sounds like they should have marketed it to young adults or film people or something. I don't know. I mean, nobody in the meeting really seriously said anything like, hey, this is kind of an adult, not an adult, but this is film. I don't think the kids are going to like this, and they said, who's that? Get her out of here. And they fire her or that person for saying that. Like, how dare you? I think, I just think it's marketed wrong. It has to be entertaining. In an hour and a half, it's probably straight to the point. So, Minions and Monsters is a little mixed. I think maybe next week, if, people start to see these ratings and stuff and say, that, hey, this looks like it's more for adults or something, hopefully it'll do okay, and make one, well, it'd have to make, it could double it. I think it's going to make like probably another 80 million or something. It's probably going to stay there for the entire, month, for 30 days. And I don't know, it's probably going to end at, I'm going to say 200 million at the end of its run, maybe 300. Oh, no. You know what? They could hit 500. They could hit 500 million. Worldwide, I'm gonna say. So yeah, in the end, Minions and Monsters popped with 160 worldwide. Pretty awesome. And it surprisingly came in first place. Young Washington is the next film that we can check out. It came in third place. So that is pretty intense. I mean, that is really cool. I guess it technically popped. Well, yeah, okay, I guess it popped. It says domestic gross is 20 out of a $20 million budget. The budget could be a little bit higher, up to 30 million, which is still amazing, but technically that would mean that this movie did flop. And it being in third place, though, I feel like that could definitely like be a positive for it, as well as all like the big cast of people, or not a big cast, I guess, but very, very well-known people all together, right? And as well as a very interesting like selection of these actors. We'll go down here and look or at the if there's any reviews. Last time I don't think there were any, and then now there are, so that's funny. 7.3 stars. The AI summary is says reviewers say young Washington delivers an inspiring and educational portrayal of Washington's early life, with William Franklin Miller's charismatic performance and strong supporting cast earning widespread praise. I think that is so cool. The film's focus on perseverance, traditional values, and lesser-known historical events resonates powerfully. But however, mixed reactions emerge regarding the writing quality, action sequences, and character development, with some finding the script lacking nuance and supporting characters underdeveloped. Despite these criticisms, most found it engaging and historically accurate, making it worthwhile for history enthusiasts. Well, that is a good thing. Usually this, however, the writing sucks, the plot is weak, whatever. But I think that it says, however, the writing quality, action sequences, whatever, that's fine. It is $30-ish million. And then I think the most important thing is, I think in this regard, I think historical accuracy is the most important thing. And then I would say character development, and then the budget, the money is that, whatever, if they're going to do action and all that, and, explosions and Foley or whatever, all that stuff, right? But I think that the most important thing is this, that as long as there's no C type issues, then I think that people are going to overlook this action and all of that. And, it could have been the other way. It could have been, it could have been really like making up its own stuff. And then it could have been over the top with the explosions. And I think this is a good balance, though. I think this is the most important part, historical accuracy. And then I would say the accent stuff, whatever. So yeah, that's good. This seems like generally like rather, positive. And then it does have the 7.3 rating. So that's cool. Here are the reviews. There are 610 reviews. The first one is 10 out of 10. Amazing historical drama. 10 out of 10. It succeeds at being highly entertaining and educational. The movie leaves you highly satisfied of having spent your time, which is rare these days. The acting is spot on, with every cast member painting their picture, part of the picture beautifully. The character arc is achieved with realism, providing insight into the ingredients making of greatness. Explaining the makings of a man that has been written and made movies about ad nauseum, this journey towards greatness is plastered with fragile life moments that hold transcendent life lessons for us all. Okay, well, cool. This guy mentioned a character arc, but I don't know if... So there is an arc, but it's more like the character development. So maybe it's weak how he gets to this realization or something, and then he changes or whatever. So yeah, something like that. But that's a good one. 10 out of 10 might be a little too generous, maybe. 10 out of 10, great movie, must see. My wife and I watched Young Washington on July 3rd, 2026. I had my doubts going in because Angel Studios is still fairly new to the game. As it turns out, my doubts were unfounded. This movie was thoughtful, insightful, and very entertaining. I honestly didn't miss a gratuitous nudity. What? And foul language in most... Oh, you didn't miss it. I was like, I don't think this movie has that. It didn't mention that. I honestly didn't miss a gratuitous nudity and foul language in most films these days. The acting was great and the script was well written. This movie gives insight into why George Washington did what he did later in life. I highly recommend seeing it. Yeah, that's cool. I'm surprised that nobody is mentioning the the Animal Farm debacle, I guess you could refer to it as. I had my doubts going in because I was still in the game. Yeah, that's fine though. As long as they... See, maybe it was that though. It was more of the fact that Angel Studios didn't do any like message pushing or anything, that they just made a weird movie or did a bad take of a movie. I don't think they're doing like, what Disney did, like specifically alienate people. Like if you're white and you're straight, you are a bad person and you should go sit in the corner and think about what you've done, whatever. And then everybody else, come on, come in, you know, get some free food and stuff, whatever, right? I don't think Angel Studios did that, you know, or whatever. If they did it here and they cast Michael B. Jordan as George Washington, this would have, it would have put them on the map in the news realm, right? And yeah, and I think Angel Studios needs to be neutral. Just don't fall into, oh, we need to make money, we need to have cussing now, or we need to have nudity, or no, don't do that. Carve out your own audience, and you're always going to have loyalty. You're always going to see Angel Studios. Wow, now they're very nice. I'm going to see that movie. That's the message. That's the thing that you want to be said at the end of this. You know, you don't want to be like, hey, I saw a really bad message underneath, or I noticed some hatred towards me, and now I'm seeing that, oh, you guys are putting messages into your movies, you know, and making it political or whatever. So I think that's a good thing, and I think that shouldn't be part of this. But I think that, yeah, I thought that was going to be a thing. I'm glad nobody's really mentioned that because yeah, I don't think that they make bad movies. I think they just made a bad movie with Animal Farm because these people have been making good movies so far. You know, David and Solomio, and I forgot what else they did. And yeah, it's really cool. If this is true, they're really new to the game. We all get to witness a new studio. You know, that's so cool. Yeah, I think that this is good then for Angel Studios. If they can just keep this, follow A24, keep that budget low, get big people in the movie, they're gonna do really, really good. And it's probably a good idea to buy some stock in Angel Studios. You know what I mean? Next one is 10 out of 10. Nice to see a biopic on a historical figure. I have to say that it had been a long time since I went to the theater, and this motion picture was perfect to get back into the swing of things. This historical biopic was a pleasure to watch without all the blood, gore, and indecent language. Would highly recommend for families looking for a historical movie about a founding father. 100% agree with this statement right here. That is why I watch kid movies like Hoppers. That's why, you know, Super Mario Galaxy movie, Minecraft, all that. It's just like, I'm an adult. I watch all this stuff. I get it. It's, you know, sometimes, it's so much, you know, and it's just like, it's really just a competition. Who can have the worst gore and violence, which I think The Boys wins in that regard. Yeah. So, and then this ends up saying we would highly recommend. Yeah. Oh yeah. I read that already. Yeah. So that's great. I don't know if Angel Studios is going to do the trilogy thing, do all three. Are they going to do other founding fathers? Are they going to do them all? You know, that would be pretty cool. They'd have a lot of movies. They could almost do like a series of this and do them all and have a separate department that does that and do like a James Bond thing, but with the founding fathers, I guess. It's 10 out of 10. Outstanding. Critics of Young Washington seem to be mostly leftists or socialists who think everyone should be a nod to the mythic of systemic racism. And it's not like the movie ignored the fact of slavery. It just didn't focus on it. I saw it on July 4th as part of my personal Independence Day celebration, and I already want to see it again. The only thing I would have preferred was someone else playing Lord Fairfax, not because Kelsey Grammer didn't do that portrayal justice, he did, but because whenever I see him, I think of Frasier. Great movie on all levels. I think of Frasier. What about Beast? You don't think of Beast? You know what I mean? I don't know. I mean, yeah, probably not. So, critics of Young Washington seem to be mostly leftists or socialists who think everything should be a nod to the myth of systemic racism. I know, it's so sad. It's once racism goes away, and then that's it. They have nothing left. They don't. They go, oh, you're racism. We need our reparations. I can't, it's hard for me out here. No, it's not. Stop saying that. Go get a job. Go pay your taxes, have a family, live life, stop focusing on stuff that doesn't exist anymore. Next one is 10 out of 10. I loved it. There are many movies out there these days I really have no desire to see. I love this movie. This is the type of movie that took me back to when I was a kid and literally had me sitting at the edge of my seat during the whole thing. And I just absolutely loved it. War movies are violent and there's no way to get around it. War movies are violent and there's no way to get around it. But this movie did it in a way that didn't need to be to the extent that a lot of movies are going to these days. I really enjoyed this movie. Off-screen violence, basically, I think, which you can't get around. That's the reality, you know? The reality is also that when you cut somebody's head off, the blood doesn't spray 20 feet, you know? 10 out of 10, ready for the next installment. My friend and I thoroughly enjoyed Young Washington. We left wanting to know the rest of the story, even though we know a lot of it. We are eager to see this turn into sequels with the history enacted by this excellent cast. Please keep them coming. It needs to be seen on the big screen, not streamed on your TV. It is so expansive, and the full experience could be lost on a smaller screen. That is really funny. That's what every studio wants people to say. You need to see it on the big screen, not streamed. Everybody says that. This is a streaming movie. Don't waste your time on the big screen. That's so funny. I like. So here, that's a good thought. Or question: Are they all going to return for the sequels? Like, you know, the main guy will have. The kid, he'll have to. But is Kelsey Grammer, Andy Serkis, Mary Louise Parker, and Ben Kingsley all going to come back? Like, you know, and if they do, I mean, theoretically they would, you know, for the next movie. Like, for the sequel and the trilogy or whatever. The third one. Yeah, anyway, I think we're good on these. So it's at 10 out of 10 America's George Washington, 10 out of 10 must-see movie, fascinating. Okay, on to Rotten Tomatoes. So it has 58% from the critics who don't like it. Wait. I swear on Friday they said they liked it. So, wait, hold on. That's kind of confusing. I thought that they liked it on Friday. I put in my thumbnail for the video, I put a tomato. And now it's on a splat? Or rotten, right? I'm still learning all the ratings. So I guess it's true. I guess that's the actual results. 58% from the critics and then 93% from the audience is absolutely just the most confusing thing. Is that not hilarious? It literally sounded like all of those audience, all of the IMDb ones we just read, really sounded like that would result in a high critics score. Did it not? What? So the critics don't like it? For what? Wow, we gotta check this out. That is really hilarious. Here are the critics' reviews. So Mick LaSalle, I guess, from San Francisco Chronicle, give it 3 out of 4 tomatoes, saying the movie is artistically conservative, with some of the bland sincerity of an afternoon special. Yet, as afternoon specials go, Young Washington is a good one. Okay, so that's cool. Now, if I don't know about anything about Angel Studios, are they Republican or conservative? I guess technically religion would fall. Like, if you're religious, you're probably conservative. You know, I don't know if you could be liberal and religious, whatever. So that's cool. But to me, it's like, it's so funny because it's like, oh, this one is, they didn't change they didn't race swap George Washington. And they didn't do whatever, and there's no cussing in the movie, so they must be Republican. It's like, oh, right? Does that really matter? Like, it's still a movie. I don't know, unless these movies are, maybe that's what it's saying, artistically conservative. So maybe that's what they're saying. It's not creative then. Is that what it's saying? I mean, the other person said socialist, whatever thing. So maybe I don't understand what this is saying. Maybe this is saying artistically conservative, meaning it's not creative. There's no long takes. There's no whip pans. There's no shot. There's no crane shots. There's no tracking shots. None of that. I guess no static shots. Like you know what I mean. Like more like experimental, I guess. Artistically conservative. So that must mean it's straight up normal. It's not. There's no long take action scene. There's no no cool transition. Somebody shuts a door and then the next scene somebody opens a door or whatever, or somebody sets something down and then the next scene they pick it up and now they're in the next scene or whatever. Maybe, I don't know. It doesn't seem like there's anything like that. And then Johnny Oleksinski from New York Post gave it 2 out of 4 splats, saying what the movie lacks is a clearer moment when we collectively know that George is going to be the guy. A scene with real chills. In that sense, it's the viewer who feels ambushed, but by disappointment. Interesting. So that's what I'm saying. So somebody said there's an arc. And when we collectively know, this sounds like the moment when we know it. That sounds like development rather than the arc, because we should know, like, oh, he's starting to realize the issue and then he changes or whatever. But I think somebody said there is an arc, which is obviously like he does change. It's how it's done might be kind of weak. I think that's what this is saying. And the next one is Sean Edwards from Fox 4 Kansas City. Is that the same guy from earlier? 2 out of 5 splats, saying the service of a biopic pays a respectful, if not dull, nod to the first president of the U.S., Denise Arslan from Battle Royale with Cheese. That's a funny name. He gave it 7 out of 10 tomatoes, saying young Washington is unapologetically patriotic and occasionally idealized, but strong action, solid storytelling, and confident direction make it an engaging, historic crowd pleaser. Wow. These are just like all over. I don't know what to believe. Charles Koplinski from Real Talk with Chuck and Pam gave it 3 out of 4 tomatoes, saying the period-accurate production design isn't the film's only surprise, as Franklin Miller gives an arresting performance as Washington. And then Jim Vejvoda, I guess? Vevoda. That's a tough one. From IGN Movies, gave it 6 out of 10 tomatoes, saying young Washington's epic ambition clearly exceeded its limited grasp to realize its grand vision. It's an earnest but cursory exploration of the first U.S. president's early years as a wannabe British officer in the French and Indian War. And then Aaron Newworth from We Live Entertainment gave it 5 out of 10 splats, saying as long as they're not using it as source material for an exam, film hits a lot of broad strokes in a non-messy way and fulfills its obligation to tell a story specifically about a younger George Washington before things get more complicated. So is that a cliffhanger, or that's just the end of part 1 of George Washington's life? And like, they're going to make a Michael sequel, I think, which is going to focus on the 90s and all of the accusation stuff, I think, which is probably going to be very wild. I don't know. But is that what this is going to be? The next one is going to show off all the other stuff or whatever? I don't know. That's funny. And then Nora Lee Mandel from Maven's Nest gave it 5 out of 10 stars, saying epic but nuance-free, one-dimensional story of the key developments in the early life and career that shaped the man before he became the monument. A few famous actors are ponderous anchors. Franklin Miller is appealing. Cool. Okay. That's good that talked about this. Franklin Miller. Has anybody said, is he even a good George Washington? Anyway, yeah, I think this is good on the critics one. You can check out the audience reviews. So, Joel B. Gave it 5 stars, saying my favorite part was a lunatic liberal in our theater who stood up, announced that he was a democratic socialist and that the movie wasn't racist enough. You can't make this stuff up. Honestly, great movie, and I strongly encourage taking maybe friends or something. Wow, is that true? What? A lunatic liberal in our theater who stood up and announced that he was a democratic socialist and that the movie wasn't racist enough. Oh my God. That is so sad because these people believe in violence and they will, if you're lucky they didn't murder you for having fun, just watching a movie, you know, just watching a movie and then they kill you over it because you went to go see it. That's entirely a thing. That is absolutely a thing. And then Joe B gave it 4.5 stars, saying Democrats will hate this movie. It's 100% American. Okay, well, this is getting a little political now. Seth D gave it 4 out of 5 stars, saying I truly enjoyed learning about the early history of George Washington that I was never told. Well worth the watch. Michael gave it 4 stars, saying I liked. I only wish it was longer. Aaron S gave it 4 stars, saying it was a very interesting biopic of a young George Washington. Kelsey Grammer was great as Lord Fairfax. The CGI battle scene seemed a bit inauthentic as far as the weapons that were used in the French and Indian War because they didn't have CGI back then. No, that'd be so funny. Jacob V gave it 2.5 stars, saying having just watched 2 George Washington movies, alas, the movie falls apart after the first half, which is reasonably factual. In one scene, George Washington and his bud are desperately paddling a raft in the horrible freezing winter weather in Ohio. They suddenly encounter something. Okay, well, I think that's good on the audience reviews. So, Young Washington, I guess, is a little mixed. I think that it doesn't change anything. That's what I'm getting from it. It doesn't change it enough that people are mad. I don't know, whatever. Or something. I don't know. That's unfortunate. So it's liked from, well, it says it's not like from the critics, but I don't get that. I feel like there's something wrong with Rotten Tomatoes because I swore on Friday it was a tomato. So I don't know. Maybe it just switched with the percentage. However that works. It must have just went over to being rotten. And then the audience, they like it. Verified 5 out of 5, best patriotic film in years. 5 out of 5, inspiring story with great action. 4.5 out of 5, kids learn real history while being entertained. So that's great. Yeah, I think that this will be there for the whole entire 30 days. It came in 3rd place. It's probably going to end up past 10th place. I don't know how much it's actually going to make in the end. I think if it's at 20 million, it's probably going to end up with 70 to 80 million maybe at the end of its run. Maybe 100 million, hopefully 100 million in the next 30 days. We'll see. It's got half the theaters as Minions and Monsters, though. But Supergirl has more. That's funny. I don't know what to say. Like, okay. But yeah, so in the end, Young Washington, it was right there, though. If the budget is high, then it did flop. But for as of now, Young Washington, I'm going to say popped with its budget, 20-ish million, something like that. And it did come in 3rd place. All right, and then that's pretty much it on all the movies, Minions and Monsters and Young Washington. We can check out the movies that are going to be coming up in the next show. Yeah, so here they are. We will be checking out these films. Evil Dead Burn from Warner Brothers. That's probably going to do pretty well, I'm going to say, because that has a big following, you know, like people know that Evil Dead series with Ash and all that. So that's great. Warner Brothers, they definitely need some wins. And then Gail Daughtry and the Celebrity Sex Pass. What in the world? What is that? What movie is that? From Sony Pictures? I don't even understand that. We'll see. And then Moana from Walt Disney. That is going to be crazy. I think the Moana trailer with The Rock and live action is a little 50-50, isn't it? I don't know about that. I don't know how this is going to do. I think Moana is very successful, though, and it's Disney, though. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to do it. I mean, Moana has a high chance of doing well, but I think this last one I don't think it looks good. The Rock, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe they fix it up in a future trailer. No, because it's here though. It's gonna be here. It's too late. It's too late to fix anything. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how this Moana is gonna turn out. I think that like Moana is good on its own. Like Moana is good. I think that this live action remake isn't good. So what we'll see though. It's probably going to be really cool. Of course, I look forward to seeing it. It's going to be really awesome. I've never even seen Moana. I don't know anything about it. I guess I should watch it. You know what? I'll watch it. I'll watch it soon. I'll watch it now, whatever. Yeah, I'll check out Moana this week then. And yeah, I never seen them. Isn't the Moana 2? I think there's 2. But yeah, so those are the movies that we'll be checking out in the next show. And then well, I don't check them out, but there's also all of these limited releases that are going to be coming out. IMAX for Marijuana, no? Then July 1st. So, McGregor vs. Holloway 2 is this weekend. That is crazy. I didn't know McGregor was coming back yet. I heard he was. I heard he had I heard he had like an accident or he needed a surgery or something. I don't know. I thought he wasn't able to come back, even though he can. Something. Anyway, I didn't know it was this soon. And then, yeah, that's going to be crazy. Max Holloway. They're both good fighters. Usually the thing is like McGregor, like the return of somebody big comes back and they fail. Like Andrew Tate should have won. All this talk and all this stuff. And then Andrew Tate fights for the first time. We see him and he loses. I don't know. At least McGregor is already like a champion, but... it's like McGregor's back and then he's supposed to win, you think he would, right? And then he loses. It's always like that, right? But besides that, these are two really good fighters, both of them. They're very good. And likable people. McGregor is an actor, He was in what's that movie called with Jake Gyllenhaal? Roundhouse or something. I don't know. And then Food Roots. These are future ones. And next week is The Odyssey. Is that it? The Odyssey? So next week is going to be a very short show. That's going to be a 30-minute to 40-minute show. My shortest one yet, maybe. And then there's Pinocchio on Strong. Wow, this is a Pinocchio movie. And then the Spider-Man movie. This is going to be so crazy. All right, well, yep. So those are the movies that we'll be checking out in the next episode. All right, so that wraps up this episode of Mike on Mike. Those are all the movies that came out, and we checked if they popped or flopped. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Thank you to thenumbers.com, imdb.com, and rottentomatoes.com, and youtube.com. Why not? I really appreciate it. Leave a comment down below, and I will see you in the next episode. Peace.